hear me, guys? I hope this is working. Yeah, looks like it. Nice little feature on the X5 where you can actually see if the camera records you or not. Just finished the day of work, trying to get home and also redo the review that I watched this morning without noticing. I was trying the dual channel recording, which basically means recording the camera audio, but also the wireless headphones. I will be using just for testing and to see if it's actually feasible. The AirPods Pro 2 to record this video, and we'll take it from there. If it works, it works. If not, I will be looking for other equipment. Uh, yeah, it is what it is. We have to start somewhere. We have to start slow. You can't buy everything at once, at least when you're a beginner. You don't know if it makes sense to invest so much into something similar to vlogging or writing videos, uh, especially due to the amount of content out there. You don't know if you're gonna hit the critical mass and all that stuff, but also you don't know if it's worth it from the, let's say, pure financial gain, because a lot of things changed lately from YouTube and not only. So you never know if you can get monetized, what are the conditions to get monetized and all that. A bit chilly here today, a lot of wind noise. As it gets colder, one thing that I feel is that it's harder to push to the air, so automatically it becomes more dense and a bit harder to ride. Not because only because of the thermal difference. So yeah, coming back to the bike or scooter, or how should I call it? Technically, in Romania, this is a 125 scooter. That's at least the category that it's considered. For the 125, you can actually ride it using your car license if you're at least 24 years old and you have the license for at least 3 years. So in my case, I had those conditions. I did um, a course, 10 hours of practical preparation at the driving school, but also in traffic with the instructor on my back. During the training, I was using a Honda PCX, which I find it's an awesome scooter. I think it was voted one of the most long-lasting ones. Now, going back to this bike, you have to start and admit the fact that it is a Chinese bike. So you don't have as much comfort or as many gizmos as a Japanese one. So that's something to take into consideration always. Japanese have been making bikes for so long. This being a Chinese one, it's not as advanced, and it's not only because of this, but in general, you have an issue with the Chinese bikes uh, from the quality of build point of view. In my case, if I go through a very bumpy terrain, bike rattles. It is to be expected. It's not a perfect bike. It's an electric, so basically the V12 Stash has, I think, an 11 kilowatts hour motor, which is pretty okay, at least for city riding and things like that. Is it the perfect one? No, it's not. But as you can see, you can squeeze through traffic quite a lot. From the issues perspective, I didn't have any major issues with the bike. I find it quite nimble and quite fast for city traffic. Also, I'm commuting quite far away, about 25 kilometers away. So that's quite a lot of conditions that I go through on a daily basis, going and coming from work. And what I could say, during this commute, sometimes I hit higher speeds, like 90, 100 kilometers an hour. That's when basically you can feel this is a 125 scooter, because the bike itself becomes limited. After 100 kilometers an hour, although it has a top speed of 120, the acceleration drops quite a lot, and basically you feel your power is being decreased a lot. Range wise, this bike has about 130 kilometers real range, but of course, in the electric area, it depends a lot on your riding conditions and on the rider. So, in my case, I weigh around 95 kilograms. That's quite a lot of weight. Um, the manufacturer says you can reach 180 kilometers an hour with a 75 kilograms rider and with a speed of 45 kilometers an hour, I'm guessing on average or constant. I don't know how that test was done. What I can say is realistically, you can bet on having 130 kilometers of range, which should suffice most commuting. Um, but you have to take into consideration one thing. This bike does not have a removable battery. So if you have somewhere to charge in an underground parking lot, you don't live in an apartment, you have a house, and you can just put it in your garage or in your yard and charge the bike, then this bike can be suited for you. If not, if you are living in an apartment building, then it might be a bit hard, considering it has like a proprietary charging port, and that basically does not leave room to use a charging station like in the electric cars case, and you can't basically um, use those. You can buy an adapter, it's called a Type 2 to Shuko adapter. That adapter basically would allow you to charge at the charging stations. But the issue with having that adapter is the fact that it doesn't lock. So when you have an electric car and you plug it in, it locks, and nobody can come and unhook your car. So that can be a point of anxiety. Range anxiety, it is a thing, considering it's an electric. I think all electrics have, to a certain degree, that feeling of range anxiety built in. And that's something to take into consideration always. Uh, limitations when riding. Basically, you don't feel any limitations while the battery charge is dropping, at least until you hit about 20% of the battery. That's when you start noticing some changes. And the worst part is when you drop to 10% or lower. 10% of the battery will limit the bike quite a lot to make sure that you have enough charge. Um, and that basically will give you not enough power to bypass somebody. You will need to switch it to at least sport mode to be able to bypass a car in normal driving conditions, again, not being sporty. Now, with the top speed of 125, you can't say you will be too sporty with this bike. Um, I think 125 is downhill, to be fair. As I said, I weigh about 94, 95 kilograms, and the top speed that I managed to hit with this one is 120 kilometers an hour over the highway, which I do not recommend. Of course, you can if you have like a more empty highway, but considering that sometimes you can hit heavy traffic, that basically would mean that you will get a lot of drag from heavy machines like trucks, cement trucks, etc. And usually, when one of those passes you, you feel the need of an extra boost of power just to stabilize the bike. And if you're already running at your top speed at 120, then you don't have that speed reserve, that boost reserve that you need anymore. So I would not recommend. I would recommend cruising at around 90 to 100 kilometers an hour. Also, if you're hitting 120 quite hard, then you would see basically that your range is dropping a lot. And also, you would see the fact that basically most times you will get some warnings in your dashboard that you're running the bike too hard. As I said, I would not recommend it. Is it useful? Yes, it can be useful. Do I recommend it? No. Riding styles, basically you have three riding modes: one, two, three. One is eco, two is normal, three is sport. In normal, you are limited to about 70 kilometers an hour, which is fine, I think. That would be the top speed that you would go through villages and things like that. On normal, you are limited to about 90 kilometers an hour. Again, the speed is fine to go through long stretches between villages and other areas. But to really hit that 120, you need the sport mode. Charging times. So the most that I've drawn the battery was until about 7%. From 7%, from zero, the manufacturer gives about 4 hours, 4 hours and a half to charge the battery. For me, realistically, at around 20 degrees weather, the charge time was a lot lower than that. It was around 2 hours and 45 minutes or so. Having that in mind, you have to always be sure that you have a power source if you're going on long trips. If you want to try to make a longer trip, plan the EV charging station and get that Shuko adapter to make sure that you can use at least the Type 2 charging stations to charge your bike. That's maybe one thing that I would have loved to see on this bike would be the Type 2 direct adapter to charge it, because that's basically a must these days if you travel long range and you want to make sure that you have the ability to get to your destination. Type 2 are the most common here in Romania. You can see also some fast charging options, but not as much. The fast charging options are usually more closer to the highway and the big commercial centers. So if you're going to pass through big cities, then yes, you can look for those also, but that would be a different adapter to altogether. Uh, yeah, rush hour traffic. What can I say? It's hard sometimes to, at least for me as a beginner, to pay attention and to also make sure that I am safe in traffic and also talk for my wannabe vlog. God. Uh, my own opinion. This bike can be a good solution. For me, it's a tool to get to work faster and get back from work faster. Um, I am interested in spending more time with my family than necessarily the ride style. But all in all, I do enjoy riding. I would love to go for longer rides like with a club or with several people. Unfortunately, this bike does not give you that opportunity. Damn it. And also, sometimes the traffic is just too much. As you can see, that's one thing that I would have to say. Shout out to the Romanian drivers the past few years. I saw the hate towards the motorcyclists went down quite a lot, and that basically allows me to have this space here that before you wouldn't have, um, and make sure that I managed to actually squeeze through and be safe about it. In other years, they would then just look, they would squeeze all together, bundled up, not giving you the space that you need to actually be safe. And yeah, also, I would never understand motorcyclists that we just push forward when it goes to a stoplight, like be in front of all the cars. It's just one car. If you want to bypass it, you're gonna bypass it anyway. It doesn't make any sense to push that hard to go through the traffic over here. And also, if you're quite slow, like me, the cars are going much faster around here. Just stay on the first lane. Just because you're on two wheels doesn't give you the right to hog the second lane. Come on, let's be respectful in traffic. Yeah, going back. Sorry, a bit of the ADHD. Got sidetracked. Red light guy. Come on. Uh, the bike itself. So I have it for about 1 year, 3,457 kilometers right now. That basically means what? About 300 kilometers each one, a bit under. That's quite low riding numbers. And that's because I had also to use my car a lot for personal reasons, had to carry big items. So, of course, a bike is not the most optimal ways of transporting like furniture, luggages, and all that. So, I didn't get to ride it as much as I would have normally, but I still do enjoy it even at 9 degrees. And if you saw my other video where I tried to vlog a bit using my headphones, was basically in the morning. Come on, guys. At 5 degrees, if you get some good gear, then that's fine. I think that's what you need. Cold weather doesn't stop you from riding. Cold weather only makes you more aware, because of course the road surface is a lot colder, your tires don't get as hot, you can lose grip quite easily. And in my case, for example, I even know I don't have the best tires. Usually the Vimoto stash in Europe starting August this year, I think, they were delivering the bike with Pirelli tires. I was in a hurry to get one, so I pushed to have the first available one from Europe that can be shipped to Romania. So I got a model where I have the CXT tires. Not the best, but not the worst still. I'm quite impressed with the grip on those. You can definitely play around. It's a good starter bike, a good commuter bike. Should you get the bike? I don't know. As I said, this is a personal opinion regarding it. I find it very useful. As you can see, you can zoom quite easily to traffic at rush hour. You can basically beat any other ways of transport. You have to be careful, as I saw you earlier. I slipped a bit. It is what it is. It is an electric bike. It has 150 kilograms, which is not that much, but considering that you get the electric power and the electric grip, that basically gives you quite a lot of power in the lower speeds, like 60, 70. That gives you a lot of power. What I would be cautious about being an electric bike with a high torque. Um, I would caution people of using normal or sport mode when it comes to. Oh, come on, when it comes to actually going on gravel or sand. That can be an issue, a big issue, just because you have that instant torque and you can lose control of the bike and fall down quite easily. Yes, I've slided a few times. Yes, uh, I had to learn that the semi hard way because I didn't fall, but I was close to it. So that's why I would caution anybody who hasn't driven an electric scooter or an electric bike to watch for that. Now, going forward, uh, if you want a good commuter, this is it. If you live in the countryside and need to get into the city daily, then again, this is it. If you are looking for an alternative to longer commutes, yes, this is it. But if you're interested just in the city driving, I would basically go for the actual scooter from them. It's called, I think, the CPX Explorer or something like that. And that would basically give you similar range, around 100 kilometers an hour, but also with the benefit of being able to get the batteries, pull out the batteries, and just charge them in your apartment. That's a huge benefit if you live in an apartment to be able to just remove them and recharge them safely. And I would also consider it as a safety measure because basically nobody can steal your bike if they can't move it. Oh yeah, and that comes to the, let's say, anti-theft features. When I bought the bike, I got 1 year of free subscription to their application. What the hell is this guy doing? Which basically would allow you to monitor your riding stats, average speed, top speed, distance, time, and it would also give you like GPS coordinates for your ride, which I find quite interesting. I'm not sure if you guys are the type of going through that data. I usually do. Also, I have a Volvo XC90 with a similar application that I use when, let's say, the conditions are not the best for the bike, and I go through that data quite often to make sure that I get a ballpark on the average consumption, the number of miles, all that. And also sometimes it's good just to look at the commuting times and figure out which way is the best. After you do that for a couple of times, then basically you will be able to figure out which is the best route for you to get from A to B if you're doing something often. Yeah, this is one of those situations where I wish I could move, but just because of one guy, I don't have the space. And And that's how you squeeze here. Is it the most practical? No. Is it the most fun? No. Is it dangerous? Maybe. Speeds are quite low, but people are tired after they work. In the morning, usually you have to be careful because no, not everybody had their coffee. In the evening, you have to be careful because you don't know how tired people are. So, being on two wheels, from my point of view, it's more dangerous. And not only it's more dangerous, you also have to be aware of more things constantly. For example, the sewer lines that are very high up upraised and can be an issue if you don't foresee them. Also, if you hit them at high speed, they can cause some damage to your back or to your bike, depending now on what you're riding. Um, Usually around here, they allow bikers to go through this, let's say, construction lane. They are expanding the road over here to 4 lanes. So they are quite permissive on some of the things. Now, are they on all? No. Would we want them to be on all? No. Uh, eh, Actually, fudge this. What's important in the construction area, as I was saying earlier, travel is a big issue for this bike if you try to accelerate fast. Uh, so yeah, always be careful on the gravel areas. Uh, Being the fact that the road hasn't been actually given in the use of the public, you don't have the, let's say, leniency if you cause an accident on the gravel just because it was gravel. Yeah, going back to the bike. So 3,500 kilometers almost. The only issue that I had with it is regarding the license plate support. It's basically built out of two tubular pipes and two screws that are keeping it in place. Now, I don't know if it was something right out of the manufacturer or because of the bad state of the roads, it was becoming loose quite often. And usually it has like a plastic cover on top of it, so you don't really see what's going on. Now, what the hell are these guys doing? Okay, now because that plastic cover was masking a lot, I couldn't figure out what's happening. Uh, didn't necessarily check it every time. So it loosened up. The bracket ended up on my wheel. No biggie, no accident, no nothing. But I actually need to order a new license plate support, and it used to be my first time ordering something from Vmoto as a manufacturer, and I'm curious about the shipping times and all the details. I hope it's not too long because I'm also planning to go with the bike into the service. There are regular service intervals for 1,000 kilometers, 3,000 kilometers, I think 5,000, and then every 5,000 or something like that. Being an electric bike, you don't have any oil to change, but you still have brake fluids, you still have chain maintenance, you still have all that. And of course, always check your brakes. I think that's the number one thing to do. A lot of people complained about the brakes not holding as good as they expected. Front brake wise, I didn't feel that, but the back brake sometimes I feel like it's not doing its job. And I think it might be due to the fact that it's basically also tied to that support, and if the support loosens, some of the braking power basically goes and bends or does whatever with the tubes. It's just an assumption. hydraulics don't support this theory, but sometimes I feel it weakly when I brake hard. The front brake never had any issues with it. I felt the entire motorbike sliding, but I never felt like it can give up. That's one of the upgrades that I'm considering. Moving to a better braking system, and maybe to a secondary camera. Right now, I'm shooting this in the Insta 360. Let's make it a bit more quiet in my helmet. Yeah, this should be it. But going forward, I think I will add a DJ Osmo. I'm using a non-branded clamp right now to hold it in place. Not necessarily the best thing, but it's an option. It's a very good option. Sometimes you get more vibration than you would expect in your shots. Always keep in mind that the Insta360 shoots in 8K, but the 8K is actually built of two 4Ks. So when you crop it down to your desired normal video style, you would end up with a 4K video. Just keep in mind that, not to be disappointed. You will not be able to be shooting 8K, real 8K. I haven't tried doing like the VR video style yet. I'm not even sure how the process for uploading those to YouTube is. But if you guys are interested, just drop a comment and I could go through some of the footage that's already shot in 360 and upload that also. And that would basically allow you to see everything that's around me. Now, why did I choose the Insta360 X5? Well, the X5 because of the low light conditions, but the Insta360 just because I felt the need to have a dashboard camera, not necessarily do a motovlog, but a dashboard camera just to film my rides and feel a bit more safe in traffic. All my cars have onboard video cameras, front and back, most of them. The older ones, only front. So I find that a very useful feature to have. And I'm thinking maybe I would add a DJI Osmo or something similar on the tail side of the motorcycle. The issue with having anything on your tail on this type of motorcycle is the fact that basically you have very little power over your wheel. So if you go to muddy situation, you have to take a chance that the camera will get dirty. So I would recommend if the camera doesn't have like switchable lens like the X5, to have like a guard over it to make sure you get it protected. Otherwise, you might find yourself in tricky situation. And considering these cameras are not cheap, usually they are about 500-600 euros each. Then that can be like a huge loss if you just damage your camera. What I would also do is get a clamp ring or clamp key, how do you call it, just to make sure that you tighten it up as much as possible. And although I know by hand it's pretty tightened, usually if you use one of those keys, especially like the Insta one that they send you with the Insta clamp, you get a lot better grip, and that also reduces some of the vibrations that you see when shooting. Some, again, don't expect all the vibrations to go, but some of it will. And of course, you're going left. And of course, you don't know how to position. Anyway, yeah. Again, one thing that I have to shout out, the drivers in Romania start to be more aware, more respectful towards bikers. I feel the change when commuting quite a lot. And having a 1 hour commute each way, twice a week at least, gives you the opportunity to see a lot of drivers in traffic. Some of them even make room for you. Some of them just are happy that you're not in a car and you're not someone that they have to pass to get to their destination. The traffic is getting crazy. The statistics are looking crazy. I think the bikes are the way of moving forward in most big cities to be able to move from A to B in decent times and without having any issues. Now, price wise, the bike. Here in Romania, the listed price I think it's about 9,300 euros. I got it with almost 30% discount because there was an action of buying electric vehicles from the government. So you would bring the certificate that you took out of the activity an old vehicle, and you could get a couple of thousand euros or up to 30% of the vehicle value, which is quite nice. You should think about it. So of course, at cars, the discount is a bit bigger. In the case of a motorcycle, it goes with a 30% discount, which again, it's a discount, it's an incentive. Now, would I pay 9,000 euros, almost 10,000 euros for this bike? Probably not, just because you can get like a Honda NC 750, maybe even with some crash bars and luggage boxes on already pre-mounted, a couple of years old, for about 8,000 euros over here. So, but at least that was what popped up with a quick search on Facebook Marketplace. Yeah, I think I'm hitting the age of Facebook Marketplace. Damn it. But yeah, good call. Uh, so yeah, why should you pay 9,000 euros for an electric bike which is limited to being in the city and around, or to be limited to the countryside where you can charge it? When for about 8,000 euros, 9,000 euros, you can get a Honda DCT, which I think is one of the best options out there for people who want to commute, for people who maybe might be struggling with some hand foot coordination, or even for lazy people like me. I'm gonna say it, I'm one of the lazy ones. If I will get my motorcycle license, I will get a Honda DCT. Not sure if I will get the NC 750 or the NT 1100, but I feel the need of getting a bigger bike and going on some of those long trips with it. Maybe go to the seaside, maybe just run one day into the mountains, check out the views, and come back. Damn, that was sketchy. Everybody was stopping, nobody was passing, so it was a bit sketchy. Okay, that would be it. I think this audio should be a bit better than the one I registered in the morning. The one in the morning is quite fresh, just because I actually left the audio from the camera and from the headphones. This might be a bit better, but again, I'm not sure. And I'm not sure if you guys want to hear me speak or just enjoy the wind sounds or just have this video played in the back as something to stroll around, to something to play back on your background on your computer. Or maybe I could give Suno a try. I saw a lot of people are composing some music on Suno. If you want me to also add some music on Suno, let me know in the comments, and I'll try to get something half decent. Uh, I think that should be it for This round, oh, did I see that one? Oh yeah, and one more thing, the lighting is very good. I would have wanted it to be a bit higher up, but I think it's more than decent. So yeah, guys, I'm gonna let you be. Getting home quite soon. Drop in the comments whatever you want to see me doing with the bike. I'll try it. I'm not gonna guarantee it. Having a kid and another one on the way, time is limited. Also, the weather is not that nice. 7 degrees right now. It's still quite cold. But I'll try to create a bit more content the following days. I also have some old content that will probably post. Bye.